I said yesterday that there's no way the decision of Maye versus Brissett is Jerod Mayo's alone. That the entire organization, from Robert and Jonathan all the way through Jerod Mayo and Alex Van Pelt and, the ticket guy that Volan talked to, this is an organizational decision, just like I don't think it was Elliott Wolf's decision alone to draft Drake Maye at 3. It would be poor business sense if you didn't have everybody weighing in, because literally nothing else matters. If Drake Maye is properly coached, developed, and can play, the organization is in good hands.
And I think we saw when it wasn't a full collaborative effort how poorly it went when it seemed like it was Mac Jones was a craft pick.
Great point.
We saw that fall apart.
Totally.
Almost immediately. And it was like, it needs to be collaborative for everybody to be on the same page. When one person strong arms the others, it's never going to work, especially with such an important position like quarterback.
But see, it's easy to be collaborative when the guy that when there's really no competition. When the guy that is Jacoby Brissett hasn't done what you thought he might do, is there anybody in that room that goes, play Jacoby Brissett? It's not like there's a real competition. So It's easy to be collaborative in that sense. If Jacoby Brissett was playing great, then now it's a little bit more difficult to collaborate, because there might be some guys who are like, well, Jacoby gives us the best chance of winning. And then you might have guys that go, well, we drafted this guy. So that's where I think the collaborative thing is more about when you look at and you go, okay, we all agree on it and it becomes easy to collaborate. The difficult part becomes when Jerod Mayo goes, well, I know we want to take a quarterback, but we should take Marvin Harrison or Elliott Wolf. That's when it becomes a little bit more difficult in the sense to collaborate. But I think it's an easy decision for them when you look at this whole situation.
Well, it's easy, but it's also what the mistake was when they had Bill here and they drafted Mac at 15 wasn't the pick. And it was, I'm sure Robert had a big say in it. I mean, I think Ken was early on that, and he was right. But the issue became that this player was, Jonathan Kraft's decision. This player was Bill Belichick's decision. And there were these internal battles of who was getting the right playing time. We all agree that Bill did what he could to derail Mac's career with his buddies and all that. What I think collaboration means today is that there's going to be a room full of people, whether it's 2, 4, 6, however many.
Right.
And they're going to leave when they have a unanimous vote
right.
about the direction of the organization.
Right.
Because they are no longer going to have people in the same boat paddling in different directions.
Right. And I think with like Mayo, because he's a defensive guy, I could see why he would go, all right, I have a say, but I would defer to Alex Van Pelt and say, hey, is he ready to go? What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's ready. Okay, let's play him. If Mayo was an offensive guy, then he might have a little bit more of he might be a little bit more of, no, yes, or whatever, because he's around them all the time. He understands that. But when you're on the other side of the ball and you're the head coach, I think you try to leave it into the offensive coordinator's hands. The same way what Bill did with Josh McDaniels and Matt Patricia to a certain extent.
How did it change for you when Drew went down? And so you have a guy that was a Pro Bowler, highest paid quarterback in the NFL, and you're 0-2, and then Tom comes in. Does everybody just work harder? Is there any differences that you notice? Like, what's the difference between this organization and the players on the team preparing like Brissett's the starter and Drake Maye? Is it not different at all?
I think that it's different in the sense where some players might look at it and go, oh, he's a better athlete. He gives us more of a chance to, do this. If a play breaks down, he has the capability to extend the play. Maybe we could add more nakeds and bootlegs and get him on the move. So there might be some players who look at it in that sense where he gives us a better chance to be able to do more things. you as a player, you're still going out there and you're still trying to make sure that quarterback has confidence in you.
Right.
But you still feel like when I was in Minnesota and Dante Culpepper was the quarterback, and then he got hurt, and Brad Johnson came in. I still had a good relationship with Brad Johnson, but Dante was able to do a little bit more when a play broke down to allow me and the other receivers to
more time to get open, where, you didn't have that same type of ability when Brad Johnson was the quarterback. If, he wasn't escaping the pocket the pocket, and you were able to kind of leak out and he give you a nice little check down.
So what do you think other players would rather, if they were on a lie detector test, who would they rather have as their starting quarterback week 1? Somebody who's
I think it's
played before in the NFL, or a guy that they want to grow with?
I think that it's probably Drake Maye, the guy that they want to go with, and the guy that they feel like, all right, he probably gives us the best chance of winning, because Jacoby Brissett, it's kind of hard. You know where it would almost be a little bit more difficult, like before we started seeing him play in practice, would be if they signed like a guy like Russell Wilson.
Right.
But before he started practicing, because you would think like, all right, if Russell Wilson could be the Russell Wilson of old, then there might be guys might be like, oh, we should play Russell. Where guys look at Jacoby Brissett and they have respect for him, but they probably view him as like he's a backup.
But so have you been on a team where the quarterback that was playing was not the one that the players on the team wanted?
No, as I think about it, no, I was pretty fortunate. I was pretty fortunate to have mostly good quarterbacks that everybody wanted. My first year in the league, it was Testaverde, and then, it was Bledsoe and Brady. Jake Delhomme was cool, and Dante. So I never really had that issue of, oh, they should be playing this guy, not that guy.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I'm very interested to see the third preseason game, and I don't think I've said that many times. This is where we currently reside as Patriots observers.
Yeah.
This is where we are, but I am so hopeful that we get Drake Maye and we can live and die with the 20. I mean, he looks 15.
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to be a learning curve, but I feel like the last 4 years have done a great sort of service for Drake Maye, in that he's not the guy replacing Tom. He's not the guy coming into this fan base that has caviar taste and is waiting for a championship. I think Patriots fans have been surprisingly patient when it comes to understanding that this is not going to be a 13-win team. But I think the patience will wane if they don't see the organization playing the guy that is the future soon enough.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think a lot of those players in the locker room, because as I start to think back and remember, the biggest thing that players look at when they look at the quarterback, and when you're in this situation and it's kind of like a competition, is the guy who you go, oh, I got open, his arm's not strong enough to get the ball to me, or he doesn't have the type of zip on it where it gets me the ball where I can, take advantage and have some space to run. So I think those are the things that players start to factor in. I think there were guys that when Drew got hurt, there were guys that, kind of felt like, well, Drew gives us the best chance of winning just because of his skill set. The way he threw the football, he had a better arm than Brady at the time. So there were guys that were probably like, oh, okay, he gives us the better chance of winning. But Bill went with the decision of, we're going with Drew.
Did you ever think about requesting 87 because Drew locked in on it so much when it was Coates that maybe if you had 87, he'd throw more balls your way?
No. We all find numbers. My original number was 89. That's the number that I always wanted because I was a huge Mark Bavaro fan.
Yeah.
And then when I got to the Jets and they gave me 85, I was like, all right, cool. And then I just kind of rode with it everywhere from there.